Good evening, Americans. This is your favorite alien and Bubba here on the evening of Wednesday, May 21st, 2021. Sitting in for Paul Harvey this evening. Stand by for the rest of the story. And today's story is on Sam. Now, Sam was a Joe Blow, just like anybody else today. He wasn't like, say, Daniel Boone or Davy Crockett or George Washington or anybody like that. He was just a Joe Blow. When Sam, he was born in the British colony of Massachusetts in 1766, and he died in Troy, New York in 1854, so he lived a nice life. When Sam was a teenager, he decided he wanted to go into the meatpacking business. And by 1801, he was pretty well established in the meatpacking business. By 1812, he had running a business. I mean, a pretty good-sized business. He was like the Jeff Bezos of the 19th century, Amazon, you know. Well, that year, war broke out between the United States and Britain, the War of 1812, and the United States needed somebody to supply them with meat. So they asked Sam if he could have a one-year contract to supply him with 3,000 pounds of beef, 2,000 pounds of pork, and 2,000 pounds of poultry. Wow. That was a tall order for anybody else. They couldn't supply it. Sam told them he could. So they gave him the contract, but they didn't believe him. Well, Sam would put his operation on 24/7, 365, and he used a unique set to deliver the meat. He used barrels, and he would deliver them personally most of the time to the different troops that needed them. And on the barrels, he would write U.S. So all the barrels had the U.S. marking, just like they do today, U.S. markings. Now, it said U.S., and the troops that were fighting on the American side, and some that were fighting on the British side, because he also wanted to keep them fed too, remember? He was a non-combatant, but nobody knew this about Sam. So, both sides, when he delivered those barrels, and he delivered them on time, too, and he delivered the quota, but he made more over quota, so that's why he went over to the British. He could make some money over there, too. But both sides, the Americans and the British fighters, soldiers, and officers, looked at those barrels, and they said, okay, U.S. But after the war, they were saying that they were saved by the U.S. barrels. And a couple guys, nobody knows who, said they were from Uncle Sam. Because that's what they called him. Sam, he was in his late 40s, almost 50 years old by that time there. And he delivered them all through the war, not just for that 1 year. They renewed his contract. But he didn't leave anybody without food. Whether you were the enemy, the British, or you were the Americans, you needed to eat. And Sam was there for you to eat. But he was revered too as the Uncle Sam. And because the barrels were all over the place, and if you needed something, Uncle Sam would have been there and nothing flat. By the 1830s, they started doing cartoons of Sam as Uncle Sam. And if you see a picture, there's only one true photograph of Sam. It was done in the late 1840s, I believe, or early 1850s. And if you look at Sam there, you'll see that he is Uncle Sam. He never took the part, and he never went over there and promoted himself as Uncle Sam. But today, you know him as Uncle Sam. Samuel Wilson, aka Uncle Sam. And now, you know the rest of the story. This is your favorite alien and Bubba sitting in for Paul Harvey this evening. Good day.